It isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Some foreshadowing going
We're
on
on
here.
All right. We'll go ahead and start the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. We'll have a call order, roll call. Start over on the left.
John Miller.
Kevin Janaszek.
Larry Pankratz.
Denny Walgren.
Ashley Campbell.
And as staff sent out the Open Meetings Act.
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Got roll call in there twice. I guess I turned it around. All right, discussion of voting for chair and vice chair. Do we have nominations for the chair? I'll nominate Kevin Janaszek for chair.
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a nominations and second for Kevin Janaszek as chair of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say the same thing. So do I turn the gavel over now, or do I wait until the next vote? I'll wait till the next vote. All right, so do we have a nomination for vice chair?
I'll nominate Larry Pankratz for vice chair.
I'll second it.
Good thing Denny showed up. All right, and second that. All in favor of Larry Pankratz being vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Did you say not in favor?
No, in favor.
Oh, in favor. Okay, I say aye for favor.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Aye. Yep. 4-1, I guess it won. All right, then we'll turn the gavel over to the next guy.
All right. Going to the next item, introduction of guests.
There are two people here, but one is for a new business item. But then Bo Grant, who is in the yellow shirt in the back there, he is the representative from Visit Salina. And I don't know if he wants to get up and talk, or it's up to him. But he would be a consistent guest at this board. We typically try to invite Visit Salina or Chamber of Commerce, and I wanted to give Bo a chance to introduce himself and kind of maybe tell the board about his role with Visit Salina. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Bo Grant. Nice to meet everybody. I'm the new sports and special events manager for Visit Salina, so I'm in charge of attracting and retaining all our sporting events and kind of other miscellaneous things that the chamber is involved with. Worked with Travis a little bit so far and Jeff a little bit, but yeah, I've only been here. Only been in my role for about 2 months now, so still learning, still new, and yeah.
So
he's the new Tiffany.
Okay, all the tournaments and things like that, like the ball at Fieldhouse and not Fieldhouse, but the Tony T-Peck Center. Great, welcome.
All right. Next agenda item, Citizens Forum. Doesn't look like anybody wants to speak. Are you here to speak on anything?
No.
Okay.
He's our maintenance director.
All right. We'll move on to approval of the agenda.
I make motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, and then we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the past meeting last month.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same side. All right, on to activity reports. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you. As I do normally do, I'm going to hit some highlights. If there's something that I don't talk about that you wish for me to do so, I can. Going through some things identified, the park staff demolished the former Kenwood Park playground, which is the small playground unit in Kenwood Park that's near the train. And just this week, the company that we purchased those new playgrounds from have started construction on Kenwood Park Playground. I think the rain this week might get in their way a little bit as far as their progress. However, they have started at the Kenwood Park Playground, and then they'll move on to Bill Burke Playground, which our staff also demolished at Bill Burke as well. As you imagined, end of October is our time for start winterizing drinking fountains, bathrooms, irrigation systems. Sometimes we do irrigation systems a little later in the year depending on the weather, but we start that process in October. You'll see some
when do they all close down?
the bathrooms,
Yeah.
October 31st.
Okay.
The bathrooms that are not year-round bathrooms that are seasonal, we generally close those the day of Halloween or before Halloween.
So we do have year-round ones?
We do. We
Okay.
have year-round bathrooms at Bill Burke on the south edge of Bill Burke, that south bathroom at Bill Burke, the south end of Jerry Ivy. I'm sorry, the north end of Jerry Ivy, Magnolia Soccer Complex. The downtown bathrooms, of course, are year-round, and I'm missing one. The tennis bathroom near the former concession stand at Tennis. I'm missing one other one. I'm sorry? Oh, Oakdale. That center bathroom at Oakdale near the pickleball complex is a year-round bathroom.
I didn't know that. Okay, thank you.
It's good to know.
Landscaping staff removed the old shrubs and prepped beds for downtown planting. Moving over to, let's see, facility maintenance. Got some construction updates from our facility maintenance superintendent. Berkeley Family Recreational Area dugouts. Trying to remodel those, kind of strip them down and rebuild them, make them better. We had some rotting wood, some roofs that were, allowing water to come in, and that affected the ceiling inside. We're wrapping that up here, hopefully before the end of the year, I believe. Also, as part of our bathroom remodel process, using those finishes, those epoxy coatings that we've used in some of our other new bathrooms to go back to Bill Burke, and the two newer bathrooms at Bill Burke apply those coatings in those two bathrooms at Bill Burke for that epoxy finish for the walls and the floors. So part of that had to be, we had to remove the the painted surface on top of those precast concrete structures at Bill Burke. So that's in process.
Jeff,
Yes,
I don't think everybody knows the maintenance director here, if you want to introduce him.
Sure. That means you have to come to the podium. Troy Reinert is our facility maintenance superintendent. He's been with us for approximately 9 years, almost 9 years. He started about the same time I have. He has a very strong construction background, very strong project management background, and many of the things you see and hear, along with Dennis, they're the bulk of what is able to be accomplished in Parks and Recreation. So he's a very important piece to what we've been able to accomplish in the past 9 years.
Well, your staff's done a nice job on the restrooms, and I mean, like with Indian Rock and stuff, it's really doing a nice job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Troy.
Troy really likes to speak and get in front.
That's why I wanted to just, they've done a nice job. I've been impressed. Yep.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. As I mentioned last month, I was going to try to put some more data-related context to the forestry and cemetery categories. And I went through all the previous advisory board reports and put those numbers in. And then I totaled them, and I did it for up to the last month, or this meeting for the month of October, to put some context to the data relating to forestry for full tree removals, right-of-way cutbacks, and we have some more right-of-way information being shared with you under new business, low limb complaints, stump removals, call-outs. And call-outs are for emergencies like after hours, where police, for example, call and say we have a tree down and we need access to a road. And then cemetery, we have marker permits sold, spaces sold, how many grave site services have been held in that month, and then any disinterments where something has been removed from the cemetery. Lakewood, there had been, I think there was a conversation at this board about the aerator at Lakewood Park not functioning properly. It was really the solar panel or the diverter that was failing, and we had that replaced. So now we are cook it with gas, if you will, relating to the ability to aerate Lakewood Pond.
Jeff, how far down does that aerator go?
I don't know. It's not terribly deep.
Turn the water over, though, in it.
I was going to guess 8 feet, but that's a guess.
That's further than I thought.
Yeah, maybe 5 feet.
So how deep is Lakewood? It varies in spots. Like in the middle?
Yes.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I'm not going swimming or anything. I was just curious how deep it was.
Yeah. Special events. We had Halloween events. We have upcoming events for special events, as we normally do this time of year. We have a Mayor's Christmas party, and we have New Year's Eve coming up. I'll let Travis speak about anything he wishes to talk about. I'll just see if there. I don't think I got anything else. And then I think the golf course. There's an item golf course, and this is the time of year. Of course, we start putting the golf course to bed because of dormant grass and things like that, and irrigation systems and so on. So I'll let Travis talk about any of his items if he wishes.
Sure. If you remember correctly, last board meeting we kind of talked a lot about our increasing fall numbers, team numbers, and everything, which is great. We're very, very busy. I just wanted to take a moment to maybe touch on what Jeff said about our special events, therapeutic recreation, our leisure programming. Those are all due to Sarah. Sarah Hageman is our staff member for that, and we've seen a great increase in those particular programs and special events, especially. As you can imagine, October is all centered around Halloween, so she had a lot of Halloween events with her people. We estimated around 1,200 to 1,300 in the Solana Fieldhouse for that event. So the community events keep on rising, which is a great problem to have, and it's great to see that facility utilized, not just for your sports, but for other community activities as well. So it's being multi-used. Other staff do kick in, and that's Amy Wyatt, Gwen Turner, even field crew, all the people kick in for those special events and to make sure programs happen. And Jeff stole my thunder a little bit on this too, just those unsung people, and those are the facilities and custodial people. Those people are very important and make those things happen. And if you haven't noticed, the Solana Fieldhouse is very clean and looks great and professional. Our facilities are looking good, and that's due to that man in the back row back there. That speaks a lot. So just wanted to give those people kudos for what they do. I also promised you to have outdoor tournament results, and I provided that within your packet. Have a few takeaways with this. I counted it 3 times just to make sure I didn't miss 3 teams, because that's how many we were short from last year, okay? So 583 tournament teams. And I was also counted 3 times to make sure we didn't hit that 600 mark, because that's our ultimate goal. And so that's a lot of tournaments. I broke it down. If it was baseball, softball, if it was at Berkeley Family, if it was at Bill Burke, just to try to gather some data. And Visit Salina every year does provide an estimated economic impact to those tournaments. Those are on your column clear to your right. So Visit Salina does do that work to provide that information. A few other takeaways. Very pleased. In our turfing the facilities, especially Bill Burke, has shown a great, great addition to our facilities. While lower numbers by 3, but we're very, very, very consistent with what we'd had last year. And adult softball kind of rang out to me a little bit. We had a few of those tournaments. While they were lower numbers, at least we're getting them back a little bit. And then having the turf is a huge asset to us and our field crew. One final note on that, it'll be interesting to see next year where we stand as well. Park City is building a huge all-turf complex. Manhattan building a big all-turf complex. So it'll be see where we land next year. And so there's competition out there, but it's reality. Next month, I'll try to provide you league numbers and maybe in January, league numbers, and then the final results of the field house as well. So I'll try to get those to you. A few other takeaways. Salina Fieldhouse, we hosted the Kansas Wrestling Coaches and Officials Association Clinic in the field house. A little over 200 coaches and officials to collaborate and maybe talk with one another and not fight with one another before the season begins. I think that's important for people to collaborate before the season. Last board meeting, I promised you numbers as far as it's not just Parks and Recreation programming. It's rentals and other people utilizing the facility as well. So I did get some numbers from the Yard. The Yard did run a fall league program for baseball and softball, and it consisted of 28 teams total, 325 players, and 84 games in just a 3-week period. So fall ball is becoming more of a reality in Salina, which is great, and I'm glad they're running it too. So just another example of the high participation utilizing the turf. I think that's it. Is there any questions maybe on the outdoor tournament results or anything that I mentioned or did not mention?
I did notice, Travis, on a couple of the tournaments you had on there on the bottom up at BFRA.
Yes.
Where there's 11 teams, 20 teams, but it shows a $0 economic impact.
Oh, okay. Great question, actually. So that carried over. So we had the tournaments that were mainly at Bill Burke, so we considered that the home.
Okay.
And we carried all those economic impact numbers to that tournament.
Yep.
But some of our tournaments are getting so big that we're utilizing BFRA 1, 2, or 3, or 4. We're utilizing those fields. So I put the team numbers down there to give BFRA that credit.
Right.
But I didn't know how to they weren't separated in facilities as far as dollar numbers.
So that economic impact's included in the top in that same
Correct.
tournament. Yep. Okay.
That is correct.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yep.
There was one tournament too that BFRA got canceled and Bill Burke was still running. So that was probably
Do
something
you
else.
remember which one that was by any
I
chance?
don't remember. It was, I want to say it was the Wake and Rake.
Okay.
Question on contracts. Do we have any written contracts with some of these groups, considering that we're going to be battling Park City and Manhattan?
What we do, we're literally doing right now is we have a tentative tournament schedule for 2026 right now, and we'll publish that here within this week or next week. So we already have those tournaments, and I call them reoccurring tournaments, that are coming back, and we can pretty much count. They've been like USA Softball has ran consistent tournaments on the consistent weekends every year since I've been here, 20 some years. So do we make a few adjustments scheduling due to the calendar usually? Yes. But usually we have those consistent tournaments coming back the same weekend every year, and then our goal obviously is to fill in those gaps. Those gaps, as I mentioned, maybe a great example would be the KCAC tournament, that we snagged for next year. And we're always looking and working with Visit Salina to fill in those gaps. And some of them naturally fill in, and sometimes we got to go hunting and recruit those tournaments, and that's what Visit Salina is for.
If I'm summarizing your question, Mr. Waldron, I'm assuming you're seeing a future of more competition for
Right.
the same tournaments, and getting them booked early and contracted early would be possibly to our benefit. Yeah, I would agree. What I found, and really what Travis has educated me on, is that no one likes a contract early. As far as athletic tournaments go, but it's certainly a possibility.
It's a competitive world out there, and that's why we want to. We didn't release schedules back in the day until January, February. Now, our goal is October, and we're a little late to the game now, but October or November, because other facilities do already have their tentative tournament schedule posted. So we want to keep up with them.
It's so hard. It seems like it's like NFL teams picking out what the best facility is and best location. Is that if we have this facility that's 5 years old, 4 years old, 3 years old, whatever, but this facility has these amenities that's only 1 year old, I think it's very competitive in that sense, where it's an interesting dynamic.
Good question. Any other questions with that?
I actually have a comment from the marathon. What involvement did you all have? Because you really did a nice job. It was a big event.
I can tell you that the special event permit process and the organizers do way more work than what Parks and Rec staff does. And in city staff overall, police and streets have a much larger job than what we do. I think our job is to show off our park system and make it look good. Make sure bathrooms are ready to go. Allow them to use spaces as needed. That makes common sense for whatever they need for their course. Making sure we have power on in the downtown for the lights and for the outlets they need for the little party area in the plaza or the parking lot that they have. Afterwards, Travis had the field house available for registration, and I was there at 5:50 a.m. on that Saturday, and he had a supervisor there. Everything went smooth for my 2 hours that I was downtown. But again, I wasn't at every intersection of streets, and I wasn't working with police. But as far as our inputs, as far as our department, I think we did a very good job.
Mm-hmm. As far as the field house go, that just it's a natural fit to have it there. And then the people who register that morning, it makes a good fit. Work with Daniel and Chris Lehetka to make sure they have everything. And then how can we make it run smoother, next year? That's our goal, as to how we can do better next year. And I think we're on the right track.
It's pretty nice to be able to facilitate that over there, and then also to have the marathon, have the runners run through, the big three parks that we have. I mean, we have the best parks in the state, and for these runners to be able to go through them and experience them and see, and to be out there on the trails or cutting through, they get to see beautiful parts of the town that are in our town. You don't have to go out in the country to see it, so it's really neat.
Yeah, 5,100 people. I think it's still the largest marathon in the state of Kansas, and I would agree with you, Mr. Miller, that they did run through the best parks in the state of Kansas.
Hopefully they didn't get windblown this year.
Okay.
It was bad.
We will move on to new business, right-of-way tree update.
So I believe Mr. Lamer and Mr. Arnold have a presentation for you. There's a handout available. I think we blew it up to 11 by 17 so we can...
So after our meeting last month, and we talked about forestry, given some more background, Dennis called me and asked if he wanted to, or told me he wanted to do a kind of an update on how we got to where we're at with our right-of-way tree trimming, and he asked me if I would be willing to give a history, and I kind of laughed because I was in forestry up until 2023, and so I said, if I talk all the way up from where it began to 23, what are you going to talk about? So he essentially got me to do a talk, and then he'll finish it up. But my goal here is to just kind of give you an idea of how we got to where we are now. It hasn't been always the best, but our forestry program was kind of started with internal correspondence in 1989. At the time, they saw a need for something such as this, and that's about the time we started with Tree City USA. So it was almost mandatory that we start spending some money to trim our trees and help beautify the city. The program really got going around '92, and at that time the right-of-way trees were included. That was done by the city manager. The city manager at the time decided that he did not want pedestrians, citizens, on a ladder in the middle of the street trimming trees. So he wanted us to take care of above the roadway. So they basically decided kind of informally at first that they were going to do curb to curb responsibility, and the code at the time was 12 foot. So essentially, if you take a rectangle from the inside the curb, 12 foot high, go across the road and then go down right at the other curb line, that rectangle is what he wanted us to clear. Later on, it kind of included, like, if there was a dead limb above that rectangle but could possibly fall into the roadway, he wanted those taken care of as well. He didn't want people, out there, with a handsaw falling off and causing issues. So they started with basically a 2-person crew, and they had like paths. They'd be like, okay, we're going to do 9th Street. So they'd get on 9th Street and just take the entirety all the way south to north or north to south, whichever. And at that same time, they were also starting a tree nursery that we no longer have. They were doing all the plantings. So they were basically doing right away, but they also had these other responsibilities. So what ended up happening is that kind of worked for a while. Then they had some turnover, and when I started, which is in the 2013, we basically had major turnover starting at that point. We're supposed to have 2 full-time staff, and I laughed because in 2022 I just happened to go back to really see how we got to where we were. And from 2013, I got here in June, to June of 22, so basically 9 years, we were only full staffed 37% of the time. That's not, you're going to get way behind and things are going to get out of control. So by 2019, we had fell way, way behind. And the first time we talked about contracts was probably in 2017. We were going to try to get a contractor to come in and do this, kind of what you see, the map on the screen there, something similar to that, but it's actually broke down into 6 sections, not 5, and break it up over a 6-year period. But we just couldn't afford it. It was just entirely too expensive, and it was actually too hard to predict. We worked with several local contractors at the time, and we rode with them and was like, okay, what would you say if this rode here? And it was just too hard to take that information and then extrapolate it over the entire city. So it got squashed. But by 2019, that conversation kind of came back up because we were getting so far behind, tons of complaints and unable to keep up. And then 2020 happened, and I think you guys are all familiar with what happened in 2020. So about that time, it was shortly after the 2020 time that Public Works we have a really good working relationship with Public Works, and they kind of approached us and they're like, we need to do something because we can't even get our regular trash trucks, and they already knew around that time that they were going to get these bigger trucks. So they had tried to assist and try to help, and we, like I said, on call outs and stuff, we'd work with them, but we just weren't able to keep up. They gave us a list of 2,600 addresses, not trees, addresses where we had low limbs, and we had a 1, maybe 2 at a 2-person crew if we were lucky. So that spurned this conversation that we needed to get we either needed a contract and get it all caught up, and then we could kind of keep it caught up, or we needed to change how we were doing things. And so myself and Jim Teutsch, the director at that time, sat down and talked about what we would need. And he was expecting this big, huge number of people and this big budget. And honestly, I said, if we just had enough that we could fit a crew, that if I have one guy gone, things don't come to a screeching halt. And it was kind of determined that we could afford 4 people. And so at that time, the conversation kind of started. Then it was, how are we going to fund this? And to Public Works' credit, they were like, we need to protect our trucks. Let's get this done. And they helped put up the money for 2 employees out of 2 different areas of Public Works. And we weren't to the finish line yet. When I stepped away in 2023 to become the deputy director, but between Dennis and myself, we kind of finished it up and got this agreement. So then that's when I left, and that's when Dennis took over.
So I'll start by saying, right now I have a great four-man crew. It kind of got off to a rocky start. We actually started in 2024 to try to get this kicked off. We were just using the equipment we had. So we were basically just doing the low limb complaints, trying to get caught up on them, because at this point we haven't got the map yet and all that. So we got it going, and then my forester stepped down. So I was trying to run it also, and with two other guys. So one of the forestry staff members was promoted, so that put him into the forester. So I was down to one staff member plus the new forester. So we just kind of kept working at it, and then come April 2024, we got the approval to go ahead and start hiring two others. So in mid-April, late April, we got our two extras. So we actually started running with that, still just doing the low limb complaints and the list that we had. Of course, then in late July, everybody knew in 2024 we had a late windstorm that set us back. We got grouped up with everybody's streets and all, so we were out on the streets for roughly a little over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And of course, once we got that done, we had to get back into parks and do our own. So that set us back some more. Then in September, Public Works notified me that they got a grant for equipment, and they gave us the map. So this map's based on what sanitation gave us for their most problem area. They numbered it from 1 to 5. So what they wanted us to do was, if we could, start in zone 1 and work on that, and then when we get caught up on that, move to zone 2. So that's how this map works. So as you can see, the red highlights is where we have been up to October. You can see some strags here. I just told the guys, if we get called out on a low limb or a complaint, if it's midday or mid-afternoon, don't pack up and go back to where you were. Just finish out the day there. So that's why you see some areas that are out of the zone. So anyway, we started getting our equipment in. We're still lacking our bucket trucks. So with that being said, it should arrive late December, maybe January. And why that is a big deal is because the one truck we have is a 60-foot bucket truck. So if you get into the street with it, and there's trees on each side, and they got big canopies, it's just not practical, because you got to sit there with booms. We are sit there with the rigs. You got to get the rigs out, and it just wasn't practical. So we're waiting on the smaller one to get here, and we'll probably have to go back in zone 1 to catch what we couldn't get. And also in zone 1, going down there when we're working, we can't get every car moved at that time, so we'll be going back here and there. So anyway, then come April of 2025, we ended up getting to be full staff with one more person. So basically what you see on this map is where we are today since October. It hasn't been updated in November yet. So if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them.
So is the minimum height now Is the minimum height now higher than 12?
So with an agreement with Public Works, we had started before we even got the trucks that we would start trimming to 14 feet. So what was ironic about all this is when this all started, the code was 12, but somewhere along the lines that went away. There was no code written that stated. I couldn't find it anywhere. And so what we decided was we would just make it 14. Even if code states 12, we're going to make it 14 and make sure that we make enough to clear those trucks. So yeah, it went up. We try to go a little bit higher than that because I think the trucks are 13.6. So we basically make it to where we are. There's not a limb above or below 14 foot. That being said, there are some trees that if you take the limb that is below, you'd be taking the entire tree. We try to avoid that if we can, and there might be an instance where the truck driver has to kind of move over for a little bit and then get back over, unless it's just an issue where we just have to remove the tree. But for the most part, we're trying to keep those trees, and we're trying to keep the truck's health, clean and not damaged, and we're trying to keep the trees healthy. So in those instances, we try to keep the tree if we can, but there are some times where it just doesn't work and we have to remove.
And so do all the trees go to the landfill then, or
Yes.
everything taken down?
Yes. Yeah, usually it depends on how big the limbs are that we are. If they find a street that's really heavy, we'll sometimes take the grapple truck, and that way we don't have to fill up so fast and run the chips back to Lakewood is where we dump the chips. But if it's a heavy street, we get the grapple truck so it holds more, so we're not making so many trips. So when we get a full load of chips, we take it to Lakewood. So after that, we do like Riverfest. If it rains and all that, we'll haul them in, and we'll use them for muddy areas and all that kind of stuff. So.
And just my comment, it also it has more benefits than just the trash trucks. Any fire trucks. We got complaints from fire about some low limbs in certain areas, and so school buses maybe. I've got a complaint from semi truck drivers and for certain areas where they would be trying to get through. So, just wanted to add my 2 cents.
Any other questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next one, the request for memorial placement in Sunset Park.
Yes. I'd like to introduce Vaughn Mortimer. Dennis Arnold and myself met with Mr. Mortimer at Sunset Park. I have a handout I'm going to pass out as soon as I'm done talking and let Mr. Mortimer take over. As you're aware, in that center area of Sunset Park, we have a war memorial. We have an established public speech forum relating to recognition of people who served in the military. In the center of that area is a lot of bronze plaques on different concrete elements, but also we have a separate recognition of a Purple Heart Memorial. There's a POW memorial. There's also the recent addition of a sculpture, a fallen soldier sculpture that's part of the public art component. But Mr. Mortimer, we met with him at Sunset Park, and he has a proposal. I advised him if he can come to this board today to get your feedback and recommendation. And I'll go ahead and pass these out to you and let Mr. Mortimer talk.
Thanks. Thanks for having me this afternoon. I want to give you a little background. I'm from the Dorado base. It's on the handout here of the United States Submarine Veterans. And we're an organization that covers everything south of I-70 in Kansas. We cover a very large space. The purpose of the United States Submarine Veterans is to perpetuate the memory of our shipmates who gave their lives while serving in our country. Our base is named in honor of one of the 52 submarines lost during World War II. the USS Dorado Memorial is located in Wichita Veterans Memorial Park, and we have a Mark 14 steam torpedo and a stone listing all the crew that was lost on the Dorado. We do have ties to Salina, though. One of the founding members of this group was O.J. Cooper, and I don't know if anybody here knows who O.J. Cooper was, but his wife is on the wall over there. Norma Jean Cooper was the first woman mayor of Salina, I believe. Either that or the first woman city commissioner. But they started a fund called the O.J. Cooper and Norma Jean Cooper, a fund with the Greater Salina Foundation, and that's where we receive our funds to, we have a traveling memorial that we take all over Kansas. It's a submarine float. I think Larry's seen it one time. And it's changed a lot since then. So, and just another note, we will be in the parade this weekend. We've never been in Salina. We've been all over the state, but never in Salina other than a stationary display once. But that's our ties to Salina. Plus, we have 2 of our 15 members are residents of Salina, and we have 2 that are past residents. So we have a group of about 15 guys. Presently, there's nothing in Salina Park to commemorate the United States Submarine Service that lost more than 1 in 5 sailors during the war. Our proposal is to add a submarine memorial to the Saline County and Salina War Memorial. The Dorado base will fund the cost of construction and installation with a proposed completion date of Memorial Day. Also, the Dorado base holds a unique time-honored tolling of the boat ceremony to honor fallen submarine sailors. This is done annually in Wichita, and we'd like to expand that to Salina and do that in the future. So, and if you go to the second page, some of this is on your other handout too. The memorial we're proposing is similar to this. It matches the Purple Heart Memorial that's catty corner across from the big main memorial. And we already talked to Mr. Vidrickson about the spot. Actually, he kind of picked out the spot for us, and that's when we started conversing probably over a year ago. But what we're proposing is a base of about a 10-foot by 10-foot area with our memorial, and then add the bricks. If you've been down there and seen the bricks you can purchase, put names of your veterans to support the Walk of Honor of the park. But there you can see the stone, and this is the inscription I've written on these is just something we're putting out there as a first draft to dedicate to the shipmates on Eternal Patrol and the 52 submarines lost, honoring the Navy submariners. And on the third page, on the back of it, we also want to add something to commemorate the fact that the submarine force had the highest casualty rate of any branch of the service. Anyway, you can read through that and see that 22% were lost. Let's see. On the next page, you can see the Purple Heart Memorial, which is what we're basically trying to. The size is going to be exactly the same as that one, and the area is very similar and size, and below that you can see the area where the bushes are that will be, those have to be removed, I believe, to put the memorial in place. And then some of the insignias you see here are what's going to be on top of the memorial, the submarine dolphins and the images of the World War II, and then a more classic, newer submarine. And the last page is just the direct dimensions that are were provided for by the memorial company, Salina Memorial Art. But that's what we're proposing, to put that in there and utilize the space in the future to do a ceremony annually, and we want to become more of a part of the community, because we've been the men that are representing Salina that live here that joined our group, me included. We've only been part of the group for 5 years, so we wanted to expand to Salina. We have a great, representation in Wichita, but we just want to make the footprint bigger and let people know about the people that were lost in the war. Any questions?
So what's a parade that you'll be in?
Oh,
The parade you said you'll be on this weekend?
Parade of Lights.
Parade of Lights.
Parade of Lights, okay.
Yeah, we're going to light the whole thing up, and our submarine's 16 feet and animated. It's on hydraulics and in a DC actuator, so it moves around. It goes about 12 feet in the air, so it should be quite a sight lit up. I'm hoping.
Any other questions?
If I can, I know you're probably deliberating or asking questions. If I may, just based on Dennis and I's conversation with Mr. Mortimer, we thought it'd be a great fit. That corner, or the southwest corner, is the corner that is doesn't have anything in it right now. Those other corners from that center monument, have the Purple Heart, has the POW, and then the sculpture, and it would make some sense to have something in there that honors something that's not really recognized in the area, submariners who served in military. Just my observation, we recognize a lot of things there, but there has no specific recognition for submariners. There's Navy, there's Air Force, Marines, Army, infantry, women in the military, merchant Marines. There's lots of different recognitions there. There's no specific recognition for submariners.
So from the standpoint of the Parks and Rec department, I know Vaughn mentioned that you guys would cover the cost of the memorial. Is there any cost associated with site preparation or anything like that?
I'll let Dennis answer that question if you would.
So we'll just go in and clear that area they need and get it prepped for him. And that's all we'll be doing.
Not much. Okay.
Yeah, no, there won't be no cost.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's any irrigation there, we'll have to reroute that, but I don't know if there's any, in there.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. So would you like us to make a motion to?
I would appreciate a recommendation to move forward with.
So we would move to recommend the memorial project to the Commission of the City of Salina. Is that what the?
Sure.
Is that, yeah?
That sounds good.
Good job, John.
I didn't know how to word it.
Well, no, that's pretty good. I would also add some specifics about the nature of the memorial. So if you wanted to, I don't have it in front of me, but the recognizing the submariners. Recognizing
sure.
Military personnel and submarines. That would be helpful.
Okay. So we'll move. I move that we recommend the submarine version, or submarine memorial project to the commissioners of the City of Salina.
I'll second that. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Yvonne, thanks for our freedom.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, moving on to old business. It doesn't look like we have any old business. Next one, project status updates. Jerry Ivy splash pad.
I did touch base with the manufacturers, the representatives of the manufacturers for the splash pad. They do have it starting construction, it is started construction. So it looks like we're good on our timeline that we've put forward for that project. Barkley Dog Park improvements. We are still a few weeks away from receiving the shelter houses, the metal buildings or metal shelters that are going to go into Barkley Park. Concrete improvements, I believe they finished up at Oakdale Park and have moved on to Thomas.
They finished up Thomas.
Oh, wow. I did get a call today about striping, so they're getting ready to stripe for handicap parking. And one thing I didn't mention here, which I've already talked about, was playgrounds. They have started our playground replacements for Kenwood Park, and they'll be moving on to Bill Burke Park after that.
Do they have a timeline on Burke when that's going to be done?
I'm not sure if Brett or Dennis can answer that question or not.
It'll
Right.
probably depend on weather and all that. Like I said, they got a good start over on Kenwood. They're moving right along but I could say the weather's probably going to throw a factor in. I can't really tell you a deadline, but I'll let you know maybe on the next meeting and when I talk to them.
That's all I got. Unless for projects that, unless there's a project I missed or you want updates on something else.
Nope, doesn't look like it. All right. Moving on to general announcements. Does anybody have any announcements they wish to discuss?
I have one item, if
Yep.
the board would allow me.
What if we say no? No. He was just going to go right on. No,
No, then
no,
I'll-
It's
go ahead.
already going to his head. Yeah.
Just based on, just based on the Attorney General for the state of Kansas recommendation, the words for request staff confirmation that the Kansas Open Meeting Act required notice has been properly provided was a specific sentence that was directed to me to make sure the board says specifically. And it's been, I've heard it, and I'm not trying to chastise, but if we could just be consistent with reading it just like it's written, and that's part of that board reminder, and then allowing staff to the opportunity to say yes, it has. So that's one item I have. So obviously, I think we all like to paraphrase. But for that, I would ask we not paraphrase or try to shorten or go for brevity.
He's looking right at me. I haven't even got a chance to do it yet.
You're in training, man.
Well, that's part of that board training, you know. I appreciate that. That's all. That's the only general announcement I had.
All right. Any other announcements? Nope. I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion for adjournment.
I'll second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.